This is why when I see you play, for example, and I see you run around kind of like lost, to say the least, it's very difficult to say what you're actually thinking about, right?
Hmm.
So let's say you're all the way up here. What is the space you control depending on the lines you can draw?
All of land side, middle, or all middle of land side, or pretty much actually all of land side in general.
Yeah, but you need to
Anywhere near
draw
it.
specific lines.
Oh, I would say top RV by the rocks. Yeah, this we would be able to easily kill anybody that's there, and then tunnel really don't have control, and then anyone who comes in from the train cart side of what's it called, staging, like pretty much yeah, all of like this area right.
Okay, what else?
And obviously, I mean anyone who plays bottom RV of landslide. And
Uh,
the, I mean yeah, that works too. But that yeah, that one. Yeah, there you go.
here,
Pretty much anybody who we can kill anybody in this zone for free almost.
RV here. So kind of like
It's,
this,
ob-
right?
it's obviously if we control all of middle.
Yeah, but the main idea is if an enemy crosses any of these lines, what do you do?
Set up a plan for it. Or create a plan for it.
You don't even need a plan. This is non-communicative. It's essentially what do you do based on the information is here. Because essentially, when it comes to preventive fighting, what I teach your IGL, he needs to have already a game plan ready, right? But you personally, depending on the scenario it happens, because no plan is going to be perfect. Perfect plans don't exist because the game has too many variables. You can only prepare for the most common ones, so that when there's any deviation of the plan, you can instantly adapt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you see a team, like for example, come from here and you're all the way up here, and let's say your team is split like this, that means for an entry you're not in position, right?
Yeah.
But that's fine. But now you need to decide, okay, depending on this line, what do I do? Do you wide swing? Do you stay close? Do you help your teammate? Like, what do you do?
I would probably be on one of them, one of my teammates. I
Your
think wide swinging
teammates.
here is kind of just bad angles from what I know about landslide in this area.
So, what is the first thing you need to establish? I
First thing
already
you need to
told you.
establish
Yeah?
what LOS is my teammates have.
Yep, there you go. So first thing you need to establish is, okay, LOS, what LOS do we have? Also, obviously, the 3P. So let's just say there's no 3Ps in these areas because that will just make this too complicated. So no 3Ps coming from there. So this is an isolated fight, so to say. LOS is, okay, your teammates see this and you're kind of up here. So you have a superior angle, so to say, because you're at the high ground and you have very easy to enable yourself from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he'll give us a plan. What is a good plan to fight this?
I mean, one would be identifying the comp and then looking for some sort of weakness if someone's out of position, or if we could combo alt them or out angle them because they're on a more low ground area.
Mm-hmm. So that
So I mean,
means you,
my plan would most likely be someone swinging out towards the height, towards the rocks, and then we kind of do a 2-1 split and most likely alt and execute on them because they're just in such a dog shit position.
mm-hmm. So let's say now we go to attention traits. We put aggro on this person. Let's say that's the plan. So the plan is to pull them in to here,
Mm-hmm.
make them cross the line. Then you get a free angle from here, and then all enemy would have to do either is be here, take this angle, or be here, take this angle.
Mm-hmm.
Or he stays here and keeps the angle, but it becomes a bit harder once the push is fully done, right? So everyone is dying, I see.
Oh yeah.
Scenario Hill. Are you dying, enemy?
Robin.
He's vibing, okay. So these are a lot of things, Alex, to think about. But when we speak about LOS and we speak about the line, and there's a plan from Hill to for preventive fighting to say, okay, like we try to push them into here, push them into there, you instantly need to identify, okay, where is the first line that they need to cross before I have to do anything. And that is what you need to visualize yourself. So when you're, for example, pushing through and fighting, and essentially you don't draw yourself a line, you die from it, right?
You can watch that fight that we had against FaZe.
Man, it was fun, but Main thing is here, right? From here, you've cleaned up a fight almost. Now you've cleaned up a fight. If you have to draw a line.
If I had to draw a line.
Yeah, if you have to draw a line.
Well, to looking at my small little map up here, I would do anyone who enters from the north side that I'm looking at from Countdown, and then obviously anyone who's coming from Tunnel. So we have the middle of the RV.
Okay, so
That's
you're
pretty
thinking too
right.
broad. I'm specifically saying from the position you are in right now, which is a high pressure situation, where do you draw the line?
Oh, just the area in front of me. That's it.
So this wall,
And then the whatever you call this platform right here in front of me.
this platform.
Yeah, whatever you call that.
Yeah.
Anyone who has that, we all die as well.
So these are your lines. That means if you cross it, your teammates don't have LOS on you. That's one, right?
Yeah.
And you yourself are now in a high pressure situation where you can't really do anything. That's two, because you've crossed a line where you don't have space. And that is the main thing that you want to take from this. Space. You're in a situation where if you cross this line, the space that you were controlling is now no longer controlled, and you've crossed into an area that does not belong to you.
This is why I died.
That is why you died, exactly. That is how simple it can be, because the moment you did this, you've crossed a line and you entered space that does not belong to you. It can be fine if this is a team play, but this is not a team play. You're just running around without really thinking, right?
Mhm.
So before that even happens, and when you're in this position, you need to identify, okay, there's a team over there. This is my line. This is my space. I control this space. Yeah, the ring is closing, but we have time. And this wall is then the second line, because the wall literally covers anything else that can basically happen. And then eventually when the ring closes, you don't really have to worry about your backline anymore, right? Because that kind of stops existing, so to say. Depending on the ring, obviously, because this is too much damage for a team to actually go there. So those are the simple things that you teach yourself. So first, I gave you a bag example. This is a smaller example of just space that you personally control. This is your space. You cross the line, you get punished for it.
Mhm.
So in these scenarios, when we're thinking about playing, for example, on the building over here, you have a lot of space due to the position you're in, right?
Mhm.
And how closer the fight becomes, how smaller the space that you control becomes, right?
Mhm.
So whenever you're in a position where, like occasionally this also did with the guns and everything, but whenever you're in a position, you know for a fact that if you're over here and you control the space, anyone that even remotely has the guts to cross the training rails and actually goes beyond it is suicide for them, right?
Yes.
Even with a catalyst wall, because then, okay, yeah, the catalyst wall covers something, but the moment they peek out, again, it isn't still your space. That fucking entire upper platform is yours. That is space that you control. Just quick visualizations, right?
Yes.
So the whole point that you're trying to create for yourself is limit the line of sight for the opposition. So any team that is, let's say, in the surroundings that you see, you need to limit their LOS. This can be done with several things like pressure, like spam, basically, or just the areas of superiority, so map geometry, right?
Mhm.
Because this is a map geometry position in combination with spam. Like there's nothing anyone can do for you except for if the Horizon Q comes, but even then, the Horizon Queuing up here is pretty much suicide still because of these reasons. Because you control the space. The moment they queue up here, that means you instantly identify that, okay, they crossed my line. Because the line is also not just this, but it's also like a vertical line. So when the moment they cross this vertical line and they go above it, again, this is your space. This becomes a shooting farm, right? Shooting range. So, say it again. You limit the line of sight of the opposition. You think about the line of sight of your teammates. You think about your own line of sight. And you think of what is safe versus the enemy compositions. That is then the second thing, right? Because here, well, like what I said, the Horizon Q can be annoying, but if you think about the composition they're playing, like, yeah, okay, the Horizon can ult us, the Horizon can like eventually like give us some different angles for the teammates that can potentially come in, or they can climb up and all that bullshit. These are all potentials. That is just something you have to visualize. But for you, you just need to think about, okay, that is for heal. You just need to make sure whenever a line gets crossed or your space gets threatened, you instantly be like, okay, I need to do a plan of action. So when we talk about, not this one, when we talk about the contest from yesterday,
Fisher?
yeah, the Fisher contest. Like, yeah, the drop and everything is bad. Fucking whatever. Where is your line?
Didn't create one.
No, obviously you didn't create it. I only teach you this now. But I'm asking you now, okay, where is your line?
Oh, obviously, donut.
Yeah.
We're playing on, and then depending on where everyone's at, this building in front of us as well.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing you do is, this is now your space. Your line is essentially this small rock, because anything beyond that is just doesn't belong to you, just because of the position that your enemy has over you, right?
Mhm.
So that is the first thing you do for yourself. Okay, this is the line, this is the cover, this is, okay, now I look at where's the LOS of my teammates and where's the positioning of my teammates in order to think about, okay, do I fight call here? Does my IGL tell me something? Like, these are all small things that have to happen there. But for you personally, what you think about is, okay, these are my lines. This is the space I control. And as long as they don't cross this, we're fine. But if they do cross it, you also need to have a plan. So let's say they do cross this line. What do you do?
You got create. Well, obviously create a plan, like you said, to kill him.
You don't really have time to make a plan. They've already crossed your line without being able to think about it.
Oh, then
The space belongs to you, right? They've now threatened your space. What do you do?
fight them, kill them. I mean, also depends on what is positioning as well. How do we survive?
Because what is the main thing that happens for you here, depending on the LOS of your teammates?
What was the question? I'm sorry, your mic cut out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, my bad. What is the main thing for you, depending on the LOS of your teammates? So with the line, you have line of sight, you have your positioning. Let's say they have line of sight over your position, and they're fully in position to punish anything that happens for you. So what does it mean for you personally?
Survive.
Yeah, you survive,
dying.
but
Yeah.
what is the main thing that I teach you within this construct that you need to identify for yourself?
What's the main thing that I don't know, to be honest.
You hold aggro.
Oh, aggro.
And when you hold aggro, you are the threat. That means your teammates have free shooting, depending on anyone that has crossed the line, because the line is essentially your teammates have LOS. They need to have LOS over this line, period. If they don't, you fucked up. Because this is the space you control, and if you control a space that your teammates cannot even remotely follow up upon, you fucked up somewhere, right?
Mhm.
So when you're controlling a line like this, you're in this position, and Hill is literally looking over you. Stenio is almost looking over you as well. So that means if they were to cross that line, that's pure suicide for them. That means you have aggro as well. That means those two don't have to worry about them taking pressure. That means all they need to do is hit their shots, right?
Mhm.
That is what you identify. I have aggro. That means I need to live. So play to live. That is to be being back able to survive, right?
Mhm.
So in this construct, when you have drawn this line, this space belongs to you. You have LOS over your teammates. They see you, they see your position, they cross this line. That means for now, you just need to play the map geometry. So you can play around the rock, you can fly around, you can like movement strafe, you can pretty much do everything in order to try and live longer, while at the same time also trying to do some damage, right? You could potentially have thrown a grenade. Like if you heard them coming, you could have thrown a grenade potentially. But that is what you're playing for. You're playing for aggro, you're playing to live, and you're playing to enable these two, because at this stage, we're not really expecting you to kill 3 people. Because there's no way you're going to get 3v1'd. But because you have teammates, and teammates have LOS over you, you're fine, right? So this could be, okay, like maybe potentially you crack one, you go down eventually, but your teammates clean up. Is that a good fight, or is that a good fight?
Wait, hold up. I'm typing and I don't know how to multitask.
Okay.
Okay, what was the question?
The whole question?
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. My brain can't do 2 things at once.
That's fine. Like if you want to note anything down, just tell me, and then I'll ask Hill stuff.
Oh, yeah, I've been noting stuff the entire time.
Yeah, that's good. The question was essentially like, if they cross the line, you have abilities and everything, there's LOS, and you're in a position, you play for aggro, you play to live. Have you done your job?
Of course.
Simple, right?
Yeah. Simple as that. You let it enemies fuck up while they have distraction on me and have my teammates kill them.
Yeah.
Or if I have the opportunity, just kill one instead.
So here, you ran back. Did you have to?
No, yeah.
So that is another thing about the line. Like if your line gets threatened, so your space gets threatened, you need to think about is this a threat where I actually have to give up this space? That is the same thing. Like right now, you're still controlling space, but you control less space. You're making it more difficult for yourself to follow up on anything because from this position on, your line is pretty much essentially these stairs. Because you pushing beyond this is suicide from then on if they hold those rocks, right? Because you're completely open. You note anything or what?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
Just tell me whenever you note stuff.
Okay.
Hill, you have any questions so far?
No, sir.
Everything clear?
Mm-hmm.
Scenario?
Now that I'm thinking about it, and to push that building, could he not just go truck and he'll just watches over him in case that guy peeks over
Well, yeah, and
and take over the triangle building?
You mean over here?
Yeah, if he takes that truck, I don't know if he has I don't know if the donor has LOS on him on that truck, but
He could potentially push forward, but we're keeping it simple for now. Like the first thing enemy needs to learn is his own space, and then actually like forcing through space, like from this position onwards. Yeah, like there's a lot of cover, and the map geometry also kind of allows it, but it's not
yeah,
too
just
important.
thinking how to like push them, how to take over that building, because that building's pretty much the god spot on that side.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's just where Util comes in as well. He has a frag, and if we
Mhm.
actually practice vert nades, a 100 banger on a guy with white armor is just an insta GG. And
Like-
the other two teammates are so far, one was lava and one was donut.
Mm-hmm. Like the main thing here is identifying, like when we go back to the LOS, like when you think about the LOS the enemy has, the composition the enemy has, and the positioning they have. So those three things. So when you think about LOS, comp, and position, once those three questions have answers to them, you can start thinking about how to push up from here. And if this person is isolated and that gets called, so to say, that means his space is very difficult to hold. That could mean enemy could push in, but he needs more than one person to go with him. Because then you need to do the numerical advantage in order to take over space that doesn't belong to you. Which is pretty much easy to do depending on this, because I'm pretty sure like they were like over here or something.
Oh, yeah. One was donut, one was
Yeah,
lava.
yeah. They were completely fucked if you push
Yeah,
that
they were so
together.
far.
Mm-hmm. Like that is how you could have potentially pushed it, right? Yeah, but we're starting with just space in general. Because I had better examples for this. Because LAN was fun for, especially this concept.
Okay.
You done noting?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I have all the notes over here. I can just give them to you.
Yeah, but I like doing stuff my way.
All right. That's fine. Right, let's see. So now feed me back. What did I just teach you so far?
Line spacing, which is certain amount of area you're controlling.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan for anyone who enters it. Line spacing depends on how much space you have. Also depends on comp, guns, utility, pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
It factors into it. It also depends on the moment, obviously, as well. So you're just finishing a fight, play your angles, and then when wait, hold on, why did I write that like that? What the fuck? Play aggro, play to live, know how safe your position is, how much distraction does it provide, how well can it bait, and how well can you damage the enemies just from your position alone.
All right. Da-da-da.
I missed something.
I think that's about it. So LOS, positioning, angles, composition, utility. Those are all the main concepts, so to say. LAN. LAN was fun. Why was LAN fun? Not for you guys, but in general for me, it was very fun to watch.
Fun.
Draw a line.
Or what
Tough
shape?
one.
Well, it's a line in general.
Yeah, draw a line. Like, just draw a line, both teams. Both teams need to draw a line.
Oh, I mean, obviously, anyone who crosses out in the middle, of course.
Yeah, but specific. Where is the line for TSM? Where is the line for Ascent?
Well, TSM is from you said it right rock over there,
Yeah.
by the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a straight line down the center, all the way to the left, and then it's pretty much all of the open area right here, and then obviously the rock.
All right. So the first thing you need to think about is LOS. This rock is blocking LOS over this entire area. Otherwise, Kashira would have never pushed up.
Yeah, I don't know because Howl's positioning. I mean, Howl has free like LOS on top of it. I don't know why he
No,
never like.
this rock blocks LOS.
Is it really that big of a rock? Can you not? Are you
No,
not
it's
able to
a
control it?
it's a bit of an angle where you can't fully see like this small part.
Oh, then it's just anyone in front of on the left side of the rock. Yeah, or the anyone who enters obviously on the right,
Yeah,
and then anyone outside on the left area.
it's kind of like this because this also has
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
hilly type of environment. This is kind of for
Okay.
TSM. Now for Ascent.
Ascend is pretty much kind of the same thing in a sense. Besides, they have more open area on the right.
Yeah,
They have
just
LS
think about
all
this. What do they see and what do they control? So right now you're describing everything they see, but what they see doesn't belong to them necessarily.
let's see, they control. I think anything on the left, obviously walking up, because of how the angle is of what you told, or not, but they're right. My bad is what I guess I meant to say. So yeah, any of this, and then I mean technically this entire area walking up because of you said how good the yellow or how bad the LOS is of that rock.
Mm-hmm.
As Lufka or was it Kashira walked up for free to
Yep.
the rocks, I can control this entire area, and then left is just I mean obviously death no matter what. So. Don't really
Damn, so
control
that play that
anything.
Kashira made was actually the only game-winning play that they had.
Yep.
Oh,
It actually was.
Literally.
Like, depending on the structure that I'm teaching you, how Kashir played it, holy shit. Actually impressive. That he managed to identify the fact that he could get up just because of, he
he-
probably his own
if he-
visualization.
If he was better mechanically, they would have won.
If he was controller.
Yeah, probably.
So the main thing here is when you think about LOS, because what you see, like I said, doesn't necessarily belong to you, enemy.
Yeah, of course.
It's all about what you control. So that means the moment you push forward, because Kashira eventually pushed forward here, and that's when he started getting pressure on him, right?
Mhm.
So when you think about fights like this in what you control, so if let's say the team pushes from here, the moment they cross this line, complete LOS. They're completely fucked. Both skill just has to peek from here or peek from here. They're completely fucked if they try it, right?
Mhm.
And that is how you want to visualize the line. You want to draw yourself a line of this is the space I control. If anyone dares to cross this line, essentially what needs to, okay, utility, shooting my gun, being aggressive, like all kinds of things can happen from there. Like let's say they push from here and you're a Valkyrie, you can just fly over here and just backstab them, right? And then post skill could potentially like do this, and then Lufka could go from here and boom, you have complete pincer movement going on. That is how you need to visualize for yourself the position that you're in so that you have an idea of how to enable yourself. Obviously, your teammates also need to have like some idea of what to do. That's why they're here as well, to think about this. 'Cause if you think about how this fight ended up, like just because of how they're holding, this is like I said, Raven is one hell of a coach, but his micro is, I don't know what the fuck this is. Because this is just bad. You see so little because of this, and this is the only game-winning play, like we just said. Like if you play it out, it's pretty impressive that Kashira actually noticed this. Like maybe he was standing on a roof on the rock to identify it, but eventually, like, when he goes for it, and he said it himself as well. Like if Lufka just went with him, would have been the same. Because, like I said, this is the only way he could have done this. It's actually impressive. So like Kashira is definitely one of the top IGLs for identifying this. Because as you can see, there is no LOS from TSM whatsoever. They have no idea. Potentially they could have heard him walk up, right? But in such a high stress scenario, trusting your ears is not the best idea, especially in Apex, because like I said, it's a complete free walk up, and they're not even controlling this line. And if you think about it, like this line wasn't even controlled just because of how focused they were on this angle. This was their LOS. So that is the concept, the first initial concept of the line. Like just thinking about the space you control, the position that you have, what you can do with it. And it all comes from this LOS. Step 1. There's a bunch to go, but this is step 1. You understand it so far, Alex?
Yes.
You have your notes?
Yeah, hold on. I need to write some stuff down real quick.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Any questions, Hill?
No, sir.
Sanile?
This is all the shit I love.
I'm good.
This
Alright.
is all 101 from COD and Overwatch.
Oh yeah, this is an Overwatch
and
concept.
Even soccer, triangle formation, passing.
Yeah.
How you pick apart and decimate a defense.
This is why I'm so interested in getting my hands on the micro of Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh God, yes. The top down of Rainbow Six when it gets like broken down. Wow.
Yep. Like, as you know, I use a lot of traditional sports for my examples. I use a lot of games for my examples. Because the triangle formation is very similar to unit forming in Valorant. It's also from football. And then these lines formations, this is from Overwatch. And the preventive fighting, that is also from Overwatch. The battery, that's baseball. Your position, that I consider the IGL, that is basketball. Like, Sania's position in Libero. Like, everything has, for me, a construct in sports. Like, there's always examples of sports that show specifically how these things are done. Because essentially what it comes down to is what I'm thinking of in the current age, someone has probably already figured it out.
Uh-huh.
Simple as that. I'm good.
Especially
good?
money in sports.
Oh yeah. Like the deliberate practice I teach you, that is billions of euros in investment. Pure research.
Yep.
Like the Ultra D and Rhythm alone, that is tons of money thrown into the United States Military Research Department. That is a lot of money. Done, right, Alex?
Yeah.
So the second thing, and this kind of brings you back to essentially the first thing I taught you with FighterQ. Like the first 2 weeks that we had was kind of a crash course, right? Now I'm kind of slowly digesting it, so make sure that you actually properly learn what I want from you. The second thing is essentially these 3 steps.
Timing and objective. Okay.
Yeah. So what I mean with that is when we're going through positions, like for example, this position, what we're trying to do is we try to force something, right? Because Kashira forced something here, period.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what I just taught you, you should know why this worked. It's a very beautiful play from Kashira, like hands down. Just unfortunate that it didn't work, but you know. When you're forcing,
On his vault.
yeah, when you're forcing a position, you think back into human psychology. What I mean with human psychology. Alex.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about something while you were speaking.
I know, that's why I'm
Yeah. What? Can you repeat what you said? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when I speak about human psychology, in the construct of what I taught you of attention trait, what do I mean?
Speak about human psychology.
Yes.
I don't know what you're asking. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So the human psychology, the first thing I taught you is I want you to make the enemy behave in a way that you make them. So let's say you're having fun licking yourself, Hill?
Yeah, sorry, in yogurt.
Okay, I'm like, damn. You're sucking yourself up. I never know.
I mean, shit, break a rib or
Shit.
two.
God damn. Human psychology, the first thing that I taught you was like this is why it's in homework, right? If you read this, what you're trying to do is creating kill potential. And the human psychology side is people are more predictable when you make them do focus on something that is easy to read. So when Kashira is over here and there's a threat on him, right? And let's say all 3 of them focus him. What does it mean if Postkill has an angle over here and Lufka just climbs up?
All 3 are focusing just strictly on Kashira.
Yeah, everyone is focusing Kashira. What does it mean for the rest of the team?
No, they can just easily walk up.
And easy shoot.
Or at least post kill can easily walk up. Lufka obviously probably not as easy
Yeah.
considering his position, but
Lufka should have just been with Kashira, yeah, that's the main thing. But
Lufka would just
like
well,
this is still one of the fucking go-to plays. It just execution was very bad. Cue EMEA being bad at fighting music. Yeah, like when it comes to this, like if a player feels literally threatened, and this is literally what happens to Hall feels literally threatened, start doing all kinds of crazy shit, right? Because if you think about it right here, from here on, like he essentially fucking completely freaks out, uses utility, uses everything just to get the fuck out of there.
Warhorse is fucking nasty as one clip of his life.
Like in the end, it's still TSM. Like trying to break through that is extremely difficult. So this was a full-on timing from Kashira, and they fucked it. But from this moment on, like when there is a threat from this angle, and let's say for Hills and Reps are not looking at these angles, it means it's a completely free kill for both Postkill and Lufka. So that means Kashira here will be the entry. He would have aggro, just like what I just told you, right? The LOS is essentially the moment he has that aggro and he plays a bit safe, plays to live. That's the second thing that I want from you. The other two, based on the construct of attention trait and fight IQ, need to have the same sort of idea that you do. This is where fight calling comes into play. This is why most of the time you are going to be the one fight calling, because when you do this play, you need a follow-up. That means you need to be on the same page as your teammates, and you need to be on the same timing as your teammates, which Ascent completely fucked. There was literally zero timing. Like Kashira found the opening at the perfect spot, but there was no follow-up. That's how Ascent lost. That is step 2, which is something I already told you before, but now you have a fundamental understanding around it with the line, right?
Yes.
You still making notes, or?
Yeah, I'm making it to now real quick.
Okay. Then you have anything?
No, not currently.
All understood?
Mm-hmm.
What if when Kashira was walking up, Lufka got on the rock and started shooting to distract them?
Oh, that's also like very smart. That literally means the plan is for post-kill to start getting angles. Because what you do then is essentially, like Lufa would be over here. He would get an angle on them. They will turn around for that. And let's say in the timing that Kashira peeks over here, having confirmed that those three have shot their gun, which means their ammo and ammunition would be a bit low, post-kill would immediately peek the moment like Kashira peeks as well, which means you create a pincer fight. The only problem for this scenario is that Lufka cannot follow up beyond that.
Yeah, the cleanup.
Yeah.
They get
Yeah, but when
reset
Kashira,
stats.
I mean, it would have been better than what they
Oh, no,
did.
for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're just hiding up. Kashira walked up.
Anything
Anything would have been better.
what Luka did would have been a billion times better.
Yeah. Like, this is just kind of like digesting the mistakes they made, but it's more about you yourself. Like, for example, what I would have wanted here is if Kashir pushed up, one of you two would have been with him. So if enemy did this, and let's say Hill goes with him, that means so now you just need to anchor.
Yeah.
And let's say you get some attention on you, so you aggro a little bit to make it easier for them to actually do it, and then enemy starts peeking, and this is why I say, like, if enemy peeks from here, the way Kashir would, and then let's say Lufka was be right behind him, and he would climb up, so then that will be then Hill, and you will be on this angle. It would completely at least get one clean kill, and then the proper fight would start. And then because of the amount of aggro that is going on in this situation, you would have a free firing range, and you will be cleaning up the entire fight regardless of what happens here. Unless you fucking fuck up, but then I'll smack your head. Because the whole point is to create these scenarios where this happens. Like if you think about what happened yesterday with the contest, for example, it was bad. Because if I go over this, right, and position-wise here, like if Hill just essentially has this position where he is now, right, so he is that position, enemy needs to draw a line of space that he controls, and essentially everything that belongs to him, then he needs to think about the composition of the enemy, the LOS of the enemy, and then eventually what you identify as scenario when you go under, enemy should have identified that fucking 10 years ago. That's just facts. That's why, like, it doesn't really matter who fight calls. It's just that if my entry is actually a fucking smart player, he would have already fight called this ages ago.
Like that he should have pushed that by himself?
No, he should just identified it and then look for the timing and look for the resources that this team could give him. So the backup that comes from this, right? These 3 steps to create a threat, have timing to push together and overwhelm, and having the same objective to not spare risk, because he's not creating a threat except for just poking people. And he is not pushing or timing anything because he's just poking people. And he isn't absolutely not on the same objective because he's just poking people.
Mm-hmm. Also, and when I said for you to push that guy by himself, were you just gonna run at him instead of queuing up and fighting him?
He did go for it here.
No, I'm not talking about this guy. I'm talking about the guy on the rock. Because initially I said enemy should ape that guy that's by himself up there on the rock.
That is also a play, yeah.
I also don't remember. I probably was going to be honest.
Because it looks like you were trying to run around to the right, but you should just queue up and like ape him.
No, yeah, I know.
There
Yeah,
were
'cause
there were a lot
we
of
had
plans.
called and isolated, and I think I hit him with some shots. I think I like almost.
Enemy
that's
cracked
why you
him.
called it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he cracks him off one shot because I think
Mhm.
I preemptively was calling him and shooting him, and he was so trapped.
Yeah,
And that's again where like the nades and the util, and that's just the little shit that
yeah, like from here on as well, like the line that you control is essentially this. So the moment he shows up here, you can already start thirsting for blood.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But that is also like you need to know where the rest of the team is, which we did. It's just we never acted on it. And this is why you need to start drawing lines for yourself. And this is just something you can do in ranked, something you can do in team deathmatch, something you can do in control, something you can do in gun game. It doesn't matter which mode it is, because you can do this everywhere. Even in duels, when you're 1v1ing whoever the fuck you're 1v1ing. Simple, right?
Yep.
That's why I said, like, after this, I want you to essentially start doing it pretty much right away. We're taking a small break, but then you're literally gonna do it. Okay, so forcing positioning into a disadvantaged position. So for TSM, what happened here is a complete failure in drawing their own line, period. Because this should have never happened. Like, this is, their positioning is fine. They're just packed up, right? Because they have a superior map geometry positions. That means they don't have to worry too much. And the map is closing on them as well. That means TSM at all stages has, when it comes to the plus and minus terms, is always on a plus. Period. Composition as well. Like, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing really center superior on. That is the first thing that you identify, right? With the chess, this is the first thing I taught you, right? Enemy?
Mm-hmm.
The engine, plus and minus, this is just pure plus. So when you know for a fact that you already have a position, very similar to the first TSM situation I taught you, you're in a superior position because the ring is closing on the enemy. You don't have to do much. Yeah, you don't have to think about those small things, but you do need to control your space. And this is a failure of controlling space on TSM side, period. Like, if Ascent actually did something smart here and had like these two people pushing up together and post skill just pulling aggro and then eventually rotating once the timing is done and they're actually looking for the entry, it would have been absolutely insane. Nobody would have known how this fight would have ended because, well, rollers here. You have one roller over there. And, well, Kasher just missed a shot. Sucks, but could have been anyone's game, basically.
Yeah.
And that is what I want to see. Like, we're gonna go talk about formations 2 weeks? Yeah, in 2 weeks. Because that's when the first steps for this should be done. Everyone should be able to draw lines, everyone should be able to control space, everyone should be able to have an idea of what they want, right? So take from this, if you cross this line, it means they're in our territory and vice versa. So if you cross their line, you're in their territory. It forces like exposure and catches people off guard. What happened here with Kasher, right? He caught Hall off guard, which is very, very nice. So whenever executing an action, you have to think of your battery. And this is where Ascent failed. There was no synergy between these two. There was no battery, there was no timing whatsoever. Lufka eventually caught up, but way too late, right? There is no synergy in that battery over there. So think about your battery and then work on the timing and think about your LOS. As long as all of those are done, then the person who's over here, which information that I normally want, so in this scenario as well, Sanaya will be over here and he will be anchoring, right? And he will be fucking farming these guys once you guys are in there. Because he only has to rotate from here and he instantly has full LOS. It's a small rotation.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. Questions so far?
Nope.
All pretty self-explanatory stuff.
Yeah. Sounds easy, right?
Yeah, but execution's always harder.
Yep. Because these are supposed to be one of the best teams in the world and pretty messy. But they definitely have some form of understanding this, right?
Yes.
So it's very similar to when you're entering, you need to think about, are you exposed? Are you exposed? Do you have a clean position? What do I mean with clean position? Essentially it means, like, is your position like safe enough for any harm to come your way? And are you able to play make from here? And this is the key thing. And this is also the reason why most of the time you will be fight calling. Doesn't mean you're the only fight caller, just if you do this properly, you will be fight calling most of the time, right?
Mhm.
It also means you will be holding aggro most of the time, which is exactly what I want. And it just means for the other two to properly follow up on everything. So exposure, clean position, playmaking, and aggro. Those are the fundamental things in the line that you need to be enabling. And then obviously for the smaller things, you have LOS and all that to fully understand what does your team see. Because you can't just push up and... Because this is kind of the main thing. Because there's plenty of time to still make this push. But he still needed to understand, like, can Lufka follow up? Does Lufka have LOS? Like, it's unfair to blame Lufka on this one, period. Because these two have been playing together for a long time. Lufka is new. He only joined during Split 1, or was it like a week before Split 1? That's not sufficient enough time to properly establish this because they don't have a coach either. Null is such a threat. Everyone knows that. So they don't have a coach for this. But he did blame Lufka for this, which is kind of unfair. But it is what it is.
They've been doing that since scrims.
Yeah, like, everyone knows what it's...
So I was talking to Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
Came in to give me lemon water.
Like, essentially what it means between Ascent is that these two always work together very well, and then they always blame the third, and that has been going on for a long time. So, like, it's common knowledge.
Yep.
The thing with this enemy is, especially for you, and also for the team, because if you think about how TSM got here, for example, risk versus reward, right? Sometimes you just have to take a risk. Kashira took a risk here, and at this stage, the only thing you need is, even before you do this, like, I'm gonna push up, Hill just needs to accept it. Because there's no in between. Like, you have identified that at this stage, there's risk versus reward. There's absolutely no fucking way we're the one in the minus. Something needs to happen, and you understand that there's a way to potentially push through here, right? That is the risks. The reward is essentially trying to win. That is what you're trying to create from this scenario. And if I look at how we played, for example, our last game.
Game 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, game 6.
Oh, don't worry, I know what happened in game 6, because we have this.
Game 6 where we ran everyone down into me.
Yeah. Like, essentially from here onwards, when you're thinking about drawing a line, right? This is already the first step. Draw a line.
We're all in this building.
You're in here. Where are the lines?
Obviously, rock control. That's this big rock, our area, both sides of it. Yeah. Besides, obviously, and then anyone who comes up from hills, and then anyone downhill. Yeah, like that, roughly.
This is your space. Anyone comes in, that's a threat. That means before it even happens, what we have. This is obviously on Hill himself. Prevent the fighting. What is prevent the fighting, Hill?
Having a plan of what to do if a team threatens us or comes into our space.
Mm-hmm. So that means the setup, the plan, and the action.
Define comms and
Yeah. All small things that need to happen before this even happens. So what we did beforehand was I only taught you prevent the fighting. Now you need to do it in this construct. So from today onwards, this needs to be used. So when after, let's say, one map in scrims, and I asked you about the line and no draw line was drawn, you're all fucking doing push-ups. Except for Hill, you're running around your building.
let's go.
Damn, you really want to do cardio, don't you? I need to think of
When you
something
say
else.
prevent the fighting, you're saying to avoid fighting?
No, preventive fighting
No.
is essentially... I'll let the Hill explain it, he should know.
It's preemptively having a plan for what we are going to do if a team comes via X area. So it's not reactionary, and so it's pre-planned.
So let's say we know for a fact the team can come from here. The prevent the fighting is essentially what do we do if this happens, and everyone already being on the same page on this scenario, so that when it happens, the only thing that is left is execution. And this is why we have questions. So when we talk about creating a threat, how do we create a threat and what is the current threat? And where do we want to go? How do we approach the situation? What if we get pushed? So let's say this same scenario, what do we do if we get pushed? All of these things, these questions, everyone needs to be on the same page for it. The same with the objective, like what are we trying to achieve? And we're trying to achieve holding this position, and if anyone threatens it, we need to use resources. How do we use the resources? What angles should be covered? All of those things, all of the questions need to have answers to them individually. And if there's radio silence, which is why I kept saying yesterday there was radio silence, because this is in the momentum thought I gave you as well, Sanayo, the whole explanation for this. So when you're kind of lost right now, don't worry, there's a video for it that I already gave you. Essentially what needs to happen is these questions need to be asked to make sure there's no radio silence and to make sure everyone is always consistently on the exact same page. That is only the first few steps. Like there's a lot, but we start small. Can't teach everything in one go, otherwise we get overloaded. But that is essentially the construct of preventive fighting, is to make sure that when you're creating a threat and have timing to push over a team over, for example, like if a team comes from push first forward here, the timing is literally the moment they cross this line. Let's say we're playing the Valk, so we Valk you in there and we have crypto, right? So we have a crypto, we literally ult here, we Valk Q here, and he'll would already then be doing a wide swing, because he needs to wait for all the abilities to go off before he can properly entry, and an enemy will then be either going straight around or he would go with heal, and then you then essentially Scenario will be the last person to show up, because you will be on the crypto, you would have ulted this, there would be a fight going on, and then you show up last to have a clean angle directly into the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or potentially like we queue this, let them come up, and then we have a second line of defense, so to say. And if they cross this, then we do it. Like it doesn't really matter where it happens, as long as we have a proper plan for preventive fighting to ensure that the moment this happens, all of us are on the same page, and we can just execute. That is preventive fighting. But now we use lines for that as well. So we can draw mental things in our brain. All right. Next. Bruh.
Hey, I was in this endgame. I queued the bottom door and got Furia killed.
Yeah.
Okay. Draw a line.
This. Wait. Yeah, this is just entire box area, and obviously that's about it. It's yeah, whatever you call this.
Nah. What is this? Fucking engine?
Engine? I don't even know. Look at it.
Looks like a weird
Yeah,
thing.
should be just this area all alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we talk about the 102 situation, what is the 102 situation?
Make your presence unknown, pretty much. Or be as less of a threat as possible.
That's the one.
And
Like
let-
you
and
still
let-
need to show presence, otherwise people will come to you.
Yeah, be as less of a threat as possible. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah. So don't have too much aggro, because what you're trying to create here is, when we're talking about the 102 situation, is when you are too aggressive, people will hate you and they will come for you. Because when you talk about the 102 situation in the construct of fighting, because you literally threaten a player, they are more focused on the direct danger, which is you. And that's what you want to avoid, right? Because this is just making sure you get placement. Because winning from here, difficult. Like the best you can do is just making sure you get top 3. Once top 3 is secured, it's kind of like, okay, now we just need to play it out, because the ring, how it closes, is very, very difficult to do anything with. Because from here on, they have the bins, which is decent cover, and it's pretty easy to play around with. Also the composition enables it very nicely. And they don't have to do too much. And then it's all about, okay, what can the other team do? Well, they kind of force them on here. For them to come to Esport Arena, so to say, is too difficult, right?
That's me.
Because if they push through here, the line is essentially this whole area.
Mhm.
So it's impossible for them to cross and actually take the fight. So the only option I really have is to take control over this, because then they have a superior position and then take out this team, right? That is like kind of like the main thing here. And that is the only real play they could have made, and that is exactly the play they did. Because here they go up, they go for the fight, and in the end, Esports Arena wins, right?
Mhm.
Simple as that. So when we talk about the 1-on-2 situation, and in the concept of the line, identifying the space that you have, identifying the control that you have, and understanding that from the position that you have, you cannot possibly do anything special. Because in your notes so far, you should know with the LOS that you have and the LOS your teammates have, and if you try, for example, to go over here or go over here, there's a complete crossfire, right?
Yes.
So this will be a stupid play in comparison to the team scenario, TSM scenario just from now where Kashir pushed. So understanding why Kashir's push works, understanding why this push wouldn't work. One word. LOS. All of it, LOS.
If 100 Thieves was playing on top of the engine, they would have killed us a lot faster, you know.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
they weren't.
Yeah, 100 Thieves got too passive.
They got
weren't
too
even
passive.
on there. Because look, we were able to just take it over. They were just hiding behind it.
Yeah.
I just horizon ult to the right and said we push left, and we just kind of mopped them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they got way too passive.
Yeah, like in this scenario, like it's one thing to not create aggro, but to not have aggro at all, that's a whole different problem.
Yeah.
Especially when they still have the GBQ, right? Like essentially, once these push-up happens, you can still take the fight. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what their plan was here. Don't really care either. Like I'm just using them as an example. Because the composition, we're never gonna see it. Well, maybe we will see it again one day, but for now, no. Because of Catalyst.
mean,
I should've gotten the-
20 cells.
I should have gotten the kills when I fucking Horizon Q'd Furia.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Dupe got them all.
Yeah, that was cringe.
Sucks. So risk rewards, sudden pushes, yeah. Any questions so far?
Nope.
All right, then the last one
Number
takes a
three.
while. Number 3. Engagement timing. We've already mentioned this several times in just this specific scenario unknown already, but also before LAN. Engagement timing in a game like this is everything. Why is that?
Oh, wait, what do you like? What do you mean by engagement timing now? Like,
Engagement timing. The timing of an engage.
okay, that's what I was making sure.
Yep,
What
okay.
was the question? What was the question?
Why
Why is
is this the most important thing?
well, to prevent just dying from third parties most of the time, because this game is usually 90% that. And then also, well, that's about the only thing I can think of. Finishing your fights as fast as you fucking can.
Anyone wants to help him?
Unless I'm missing something.
For me, I think it's more so executing with your teammates. Like if you're not on the same page, like if your timing's not right, I mean, it's not gonna happen. Plain and simple.
Oh, that's what you mean. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. If I I just missed.
Like the timing of your push, timing of your swing, timing of ability usage, etc., etc. Because I mean, there's so many examples like that one Dorito where we had 3 guys trapped in a corner, no Watson gen, and we all threw our nades willy-nilly without any coordination.
When did you guys do that?
I don't know, some scrimmer tournament or something. I mean, bro, I got infinite examples of both.
Yep. Man, just
There's
from
a reason
LAN.
we're doing this shit. It ain't for funsies.
Oh yeah. Like just from LAN alone, I already have tons of examples, but yeah.
Yep.
It's right here, enemy. Engagement timing is so important because of this. It's the very first thing I teach you.
Yeah, no, I just misunderstood what that word meant.
Yeah, that's fine.
2 words meant.
Like when you're going for a fight or you're fighting in general, and you're fighting by yourself and your team can't follow up, that's a problem, right? Because Sanael here, I mean, he was in the right with the fight, but there's no follow-up, so he fucked up. Period. But is he to blame? No, not really, because this was purely a problem synergy.
I also just wouldn't have gotten. I just wouldn't have died if I fucking heard the bullets shooting me from my left at all. I would have reacted faster.
Oh yeah, like audio right now is fucking AIDS.
Yeah, invisible trails.
Oh yeah, man.
Everything.
Because I would have reacted way faster to the where I was getting shot from, and
Yep.
I wouldn't have just ran in the open.
Yeah, 100%. Like that audio needs to be fucking fixed before split 2 happens, or I'm actually gonna lose my brain. This is kind of similar with the line. Like the line is essentially from here onwards, so when you're already peeking in here, it's kind of like counterproductive.
Yeah, why'd you not alt?
I should have been way more specific when I said throw a Q in the stairs. I wanted you to throw a spike in the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah, I was the one on res.
But yeah, like this is just pure, like synergy is missing, engagement timing is missing, like we're all kind of playing our own game. And like I said, it was still a fine play, but we're a team, not individuals. We are here to win as a team, not as individuals. What happened at LAN?
Everything. Everything happened at LAN.
That's not an answer.
We just never did anything right together. Everything was just separate.
Yeah.
It was all just uncoordinated.
Yeah. That is how simple the answer is. There's no team play whatsoever. I just have 3 individuals doing their own thing. Crook was doing his own thing at such a hardcore degree, I don't even know what the fuck he was doing anymore. I think Crook was fighting us more than he was fighting the enemy.
With the MPs? Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, moving on. Engagement timing. So for entry, specifically you then enemy, but it can be anyone. It doesn't matter who it is, but the person who is entering, when you want to go, if someone is exposed, that is a good indicator for an entry, right?
Yep.
So here, when this person is exposed, and you know for a fact with the LOS and all the other steps that I just taught you about, this is a good moment. Just go for it, right? That is where I need confidence, Alex. Because at LAN, I felt like there was a pretty severe lack of confidence as well. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
No, good. So that is how you need to understand like human psychology. When I talk about that, it literally means make people behave the way you want them to, because 99% of even pro players get tunnel vision super fast when there's a threat on them, especially controller players. Because they're stupid. Most of them. There are exceptions, obviously, but this is just how you need to understand your competition, the people around you, the teams around you. This is then for Sanaa, right? Sanaa needs to know what teams are around me, what teams are the biggest threat, all those small things he needs to know. He feeds that information to Hill, but at the same time, when Hill gets that information fed to them, you need to understand the information as well. So let's say this team is Team Intel. If you don't fucking push that, you can retire. Because I am not accepting a player that's afraid of fucking Team Intel. Like, I'm pretty sure you can 3v1. Like, 1v3 Team Intel. That is how much better you are than that fucking potato team, right?
I mean, enemy just has to chow people like he's better than them.
Yeah.
If you don't think you're better than someone, then if you don't think you're better than everyone, you're just not gonna fucking do anything.
Yep.
Why M&K is Dino? All these motherfuckers just infinitely mental boom in their own heads.
Mm-hmm. They just think controller is the solution, but it isn't.
Yep.
So that is, again, human psychology. So if the enemy, for example, forces all their resources before they even cross a line, for example. So let's say in this scenario again, and you're holding, over here. I am confused. Was it much earlier? Oh yeah, it was. Let's say over here, like when you're drawing a line, and let's say it's not a contest, but it's just a normal fight, and they have used all utilities. all grenades. For funsies, let's make it all ults as well. They've used all of this and we still have everything. That means from then onwards, yeah, position-wise and space-wise, we don't have much of an advantage. But here we have a shit ton of advantage, right?
Mhm.
This is bad resource management on the opposite side. That means you can push this. Simple as that. And this is kind of like what... So now I kind of asked the question a bit too fast, but hey. When these scenarios happen and you think about the plus and the minus, and we digest everything from, okay, this is our space, this is the line, and this is the position that we have, that is passiveness. What we just saw with one of these, right, is very passive. They just kind of went for placement, which is fine, but you never know. Could have got more or more out of that, but that is on them. But for us here, the main thing with utilities, grenades, and ults, all of that, you need to start thinking about, okay, can I make a play? And this is where risk versus reward comes into play once again. You need to really think about, okay, is the risk rewarded? In this scenario, after they use all of that, yeah, they still have their guns and everything, but you can zone them out with grenades. You can zone them out with utilities. You can then walk up, take the position, then fight caller or whoever the fuck calls how to take the fight. If we have time, then it obviously will be the IGL. If we don't have time, then it will be whoever the fuck is entering, right? And then we are the ones going to cross the line with utility. This is resources, and this is the position that we will then force based off this. So we have created a threat. The timing is then afterwards, and having the same objective is literally the key part here. Questions so far?
No,
No, sir.
Mm-mm.
Any notes?
not that I need.
Okay. So this one? Also this one, right? Right. All right, draw a line. Go on.
Anyone? Me? Enemy? Who?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was fucking.
I can't really tell where NRG is on the map.
Yeah, I don't know where's energy.
I mean,
Right here.
Right there?
Yeah. Say on the truck. Look, is it zone on them?
No, just ignore the zone and everything.
I mean, I would definitely say the bridge, the island, the rocks.
Well, I'm assuming they know that their whole entire back is cleared, right?
Yeah, that
Otherwise
back is
they
clear.
wouldn't do this. So
yeah.
realistically,
well,
you just have to
from
focus.
Nut right now, I believe. So that's
Yeah.
not necessarily true if I'm not mistaken.
This entire area was confirmed cleared before they did this.
So it should just be like in front of them, like the rock and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's just their main focus in front of them. If they get pushed from the front, they just have to fight it because they came from that little high ground. So I
Mhm.
don't think it was the Nut that was shooting them
Okay.
because they went from there
Yeah.
and just ran from bridge.
So the LOS is that there's multiple teams watching over here. This is important. Because it means for a fact that you can't get 3P'd outside either, because any team that tries to push up here,
Mhm.
getting fucking murdered.
I got it. That's all it be.
So, why does NRG's play work here?
Because they can't be stopped from doing it. It's free.
Based on everything that I just taught you, why can't NRG be stopped here?
I mean they can't get their part in. Teams in
Mhm.
the back have obviously covered. And they're
Mhm.
obviously the entire backside is confirmed, not no presence over there. Or no
Mhm.
people. Exact. And I mean they obviously have the superior position considering they have the hill and the building is coming out of the zone.
Mhm.
I mean it's and also I think what they have more utility, right? I mean they're bang with fucking Digis.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
No, it's not.
Am I missing?
You're missing a lot.
So they have control the entire fight. They have the better utility. They can't get their part in.
Mm-hmm.
They're all on each other, so engagement is perfectly fine. It's easy wipes. Their enemy's vision is horrible. They have all the positives.
Okay, so even though you say engagement is perfectly fine, the important part is to understand. Very simple construct. This is why just it's right here. It's not complicated, Alex.
Yeah, the entire stuff. But
Like you draw a line just to make sure you control space. This space belongs to you, so if you cross the line, it can be potentially dangerous. That is just a risk versus reward that you have to take in those scenarios, right? But all of this is the key thing. And well, Sweet is, I would say, the best micro IGL in Apex Legends right now.
Oh yeah, of course.
100%.
Like I don't think anyone can contest that. So in this position, he has LOS because of the CQ obviously, so he knows it's there. He knows resources. He throws utility, and he for a fact knows, okay, so there's a team there. He even doesn't even fully understand that they're in there actually. He even says it himself as well. Very interesting. And then in this position, like how they play it out, just by understanding that nobody can contest him from here, nobody can contest him like this, there's absolutely no way. That means this is a completely clean fight. That means for this, they just need to control this space, and they're pushing through their space with utility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then just clean up and just continue fighting. Like understanding like that it's very hard to actually get anything else done by other teams. This is kind of risky, but I mean, I guess all the teams were just sleeping. And here again, same thing. When you draw the line, this is the line. For the rest, you see this cover because it's kind of like a canyon kind of thingy.
Mm-hmm.
If you push through it, you need resources, but because of the entry damage here already being done, you can definitely go for it. You do see the snipers and everything, so he does need like util and everything to make sure this is a clean fight. And it becomes very smooth. Like, yeah, he goes down in the end, but because of the timing with the rest of NRG, it still becomes kind of risky because with kill going down. But because of the timing and like everything being on the same page, it becomes a very, very clean double kill basically, because they cleaned up two teams. That is risk versus reward, understanding the line, understanding creating the threat, understanding the timing, and understanding the resources, right? And then in the end, to still be back up on to survive. First few things that I taught you, in combination now with a concept, right?
Yeah.
Right, then we're gonna and watch. Well, I wouldn't really say watch, but look over our game. Dan, you have anything so far?
No, sir.
No, all clear.
Yep.
Very nice. When you think about this game, right, and you think about the execution, if you still remember this game, I hope. From the rotations, the space you control.
I remember almost every game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't because I wasn't behind you, but I do remember my games from Horizon. Like, understanding the space, understanding the threat, understanding here that you're 3Ping, because you were 3Ping, you potentially hurt everything that went down under there.
Yeah, no, we called it, yeah.
Yeah.
We were sprinting.
And this is all timing, because everyone is so close together. You're very close back. Everyone is actually understanding that this is easy to do, cleaning up fights, and from then on, it's very smooth sailing. Just, I guess these guys are above you
They're in the tunnel.
in the tunnel.
We kind of do a ring around Rosie, I think once or twice, but yeah.
Okay. So for the tunnel, you draw a line, especially with the ring. There's absolutely fuck all they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing. You just make sure you play it out, and then obviously fucking passion shows up. And if you can't kill passion, then I have serious questions,
Yep.
because that team is a joke. And that is essentially when we're gonna go into ranked or into team deathmatch. Because in team deathmatch, when you're together or you're alone in a building and someone enters your building, that is your space. That means you need to understand how to approach it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means enabling yourself, playing for yourself, doing everything for yourself. This is everything that I need for my players in the construct of what I teach you. So I teach you so far. Attention trade. Within the construct of aggro / fight. IQ and line. This is so far what I've taught you, right? Because this includes preventive fighting and it includes fighting your way in. Anything missing, El?
Not really, because there's a lot that falls under those things.
Yeah, no, you can digest it, so let's say things that fall under it.
I mean, preventive fighting, TSM, which is the force fighting, as you said, the
Mhm.
LOS, the lines that we draw, as in when people cross those lines, having second lines and comps, and yeah. I mean, there's so much under attention trade that I feel we're still pretty weak on, but
We're starting small, right? But line is kind of like what we're focusing on now. And obviously, Senile's thing will be added. So those are the two things that we're going to work on. We're going to work on this. And we're going to work on this. Once Senile gets to it. Because this is your job, Senile, essentially, momentum. But it's in the video, so don't worry about it. Once you've watched the video, next week, I want you to stream on Discord or something. Then we're going to record it. And then next Saturday, I would like, we're going to go over momentum. And we're going to repeat, essentially, what we did today. That is what next week will look like. Any questions?
By momentum, do you mean the momentum in a fight, like when to push and when not to, and when to play like passively?
Watch the video first, and then
Okay.
we can talk. Yeah. Anything else for anyone? Dan?
Nope.
Nope.